The Lighthouse Keeper. Chapter 1. The solitary keeper Thomas, 64 years old and feeling every single one of them, had spent his entire adult life a prisoner of this unforgiving New England coast. He was a keeper, a watcher, a silent sentinel mirroring the lighthouse his father had built decades ago. The old man was gone, his wife Margaret was gone, and Thomas was left here, a lone figure against the crashing waves and relentless winds. I guess I was always steady, always unwavering, but in these last years I have become something else entirely. Solitary. Each morning began the same. The bitter coffee scalded my tongue, but I drank it down. Needing the burn, I'd stare out at the sea, watching it churn with its unpredictable fury, and then walk the cliffs. The gulls screamed like lost souls, and the waves slammed against the rocks below. It was a constant, painful rhythm. Margaret's laughter used to echo through these halls. Now, all I hear is the wind moaning. It has been 5 long years since she left me, and since then, I have become a stranger to the very idea of love. I chose to be this way. I chose to be a ghost in my own life. Then, one stormy evening, as the rain lashed against the windows and the wind moaned through the shutters like a banshee, a sound that wasn't the storm shocked me, a sharp, insistent knock. Visitors are rarer than a sunny day in January around here, and the storm was a beast. I felt this primal fear, this hesitance to open the door to anything or anyone. But then, a jolt of pure, unadulterated curiosity shot through me, and before I could stop myself, I was pulling the door open. Standing on my porch was a woman, a fragile-looking thing, soaked to the bone and clutching a small, weathered suitcase. Her eyes, dark and knowing, held a strange mix of exhaustion and a steel-like resolve. I just stared at her, mesmerized. "My car," she said, her voice soft but surprisingly steady. "It just gave up. I need shelter for the night." Without a single thought, I gestured her inside. I grabbed a towel, not even asking if she wanted it, and threw some more logs on the fire. Her name was Elena, 61, an artist from Spain who had come all this way, to the very end of the earth, just to find inspiration and quiet. I guess we both had the same idea, didn't we? Over dinner, we were 2 nervous strangers circling each other. The conversation was cautious, too polite, but we couldn't stop. We exchanged stories of our younger selves, our travels, our losses, the paths that had brought us to this wild coast. Elena spoke of her late husband, her travels across Europe, and her desperate desire to find some kind of peace. I just blurted out memories of Margaret, of painting sunsets over these cliffs, and the solitude that had become my whole world. The wind howled, and the rain hammered down, and we were 2 people in the middle of nowhere, finally speaking the truth. As the night deepened and the storm raged on, something subtle and undeniable began to happen between us. It wasn't about the words we were saying. It was something unspoken, a shared understanding. We had both lived lives. We had both been broken, and yet something fragile and profound was right here, in the air between us. A spark of companionship I hadn't expected. A little flicker of light in all this darkness. Chapter 2. Days of connection. The next few weeks didn't follow the clock. It was as if the universe itself had slowed down just for us. Elena stayed, painting, reading, and learning the rhythm of my solitary world. My world, which wasn't so solitary anymore. The days were long, but they didn't drag on. They felt full. We worked on the old lighthouse stairs together, our hands occasionally brushing. A little electric shock every time. We'd burst into laughter over some stupid thing, and it would break the quiet tension of all those years I had spent away from intimacy. I found myself showing her everything, from the light's rotation to how to maintain the lens. I even told her the history of this place, and all the lives it had saved. I was sharing it all, not just with a visitor, but with someone who might understand. Mornings were for coffee, on the balcony. We'd just sit there and watch the sunrise paint gold across the water. Afternoons were for gentle work or for exploring. We walked along the jagged cliffs, sketching in our notebooks, or just sitting in silence, a comfortable silence, just listening to the ocean's roar. Evenings brought shared meals. Sometimes we would argue about something silly, like who should chop the vegetables, or who burned the fish. But those little skirmishes just deepened our bond. Each one was a lesson in patience, in learning the rhythm of another person's life. One afternoon, as we walked through a narrow cove, I just blurted it out, without thinking. "Do you ever wonder if we're too late for this?" The words just came spilling out of my mouth. Elena stopped and looked out at the waves crashing against the rocks. She looked so small against all that chaos. "Perhaps we are," she said slowly. "Or perhaps we've been preparing for it all our lives. We just didn't know it." We both laughed, a little bit of relief in the sound. The tension between us lifted, but I knew we both felt that private apprehension. Could we really open our hearts again after decades of loss? Was I really capable of letting someone in again? Nights were quieter, more intimate. We'd sit by the fire and tell stories of our youth, our mistakes, our first loves, and the regrets we had been carrying around. I finally admitted my deep, bone-aching fear of loneliness, and Elena confessed her apprehension about trusting anyone again. It was a moment of absolute honesty. And in that moment, we realized that the key to connection wasn't certainty. It was vulnerability. The little things we did became our anchors. I taught Elena how to fish from the rocky shore, and our hands would work in tandem. We cooked together, experimenting with recipes and laughing at our culinary failures. It was a beautiful, chaotic mess. Then, a sunrise hike to the top of the lighthouse became a sacred tradition. A reminder of the vast world out there. A reminder that our pasts were just that. Past. Chapter 3. The open horizon weeks blurred into a month. The stormy nights were gone, replaced by calm, sun-drenched days. Our routine became an easy dance. Morning walks, painting, small chores, and quiet talks. The lighthouse, which had been a cold, lonely monument to my solitude, was now alive. It felt full of a shared purpose, and a warmth I thought I would never feel again. One evening, we were sitting on the cliff edge. The lighthouse beam sliced through the dim twilight. The waves roared beneath us, eternal and untamed. For a long time, neither of us said a word. Words just felt so inadequate. I finally broke the silence. "I don't know what tomorrow holds," I admitted. I didn't even know what I was going to say next, but the words kept coming. "But I know I feel alive again." Elena leaned into me, just a little bit. Her gaze was fixed on the horizon. "And that's enough," she said, her voice soft but sure. "We have this moment, and it's ours. That is all we need." The air was heavy with salt, and the wind was gentle now, carrying the scent of the ocean and a hint of a new promise. We both finally understood it. Life after 60 wasn't about certainty or perfection. It was about embracing the now, accepting our vulnerabilities, and choosing connection, even with all the unknowns. I thought of Margaret, and I found myself smiling. There was no guilt in it, only gratitude. Gratitude for having loved fully, and now, gratitude for this unexpected chance to trust my heart again. Elena, as if she could read my mind, squeezed my hand. We shared a bond forged not just in companionship but in courage. As the night deepened, the stars came out, scattered across the sky like scattered memories. The lighthouse rotated its steady beam across the dark waters, a beacon of hope. We stayed on that cliff, silent but so profoundly aware. The past was gone, the future was an unwritten story, but this moment, the right now, was radiant with possibility. Two souls, weathered by life but not broken, finally faced the open horizon, and in that infinite quiet space we found beauty, serenity, and the courage to continue. Together, without expectations. We were simply gloriously alive.